Hey, it's Joanna Hunter here for another episode of Into the Light Web podcast, and we have a very juicy question. It's all about investing in yourself. Let's get into it. Hey, and a very warm welcome to the Into the Light Web podcast with me, your hostess, Joanna Hunter, metaphysical teacher, spiritual life and business coach, published author, and the high priestess of the Light Web, a spiritual technology that will change your life. This is the place to be to talk everything under the light web, from consciousness, relationships, to money, to spiritual business, and everything in between. Hey, and welcome to the Into the Light Web podcast with me, Joanna Hunter. So today's question, our person that has asked the question wishes to remain anonymous. But it is a juicy question, and I felt like I really wanted to answer it. So she writes here, Dear Joanna and Skylar, I see a lot of entrepreneurs talking about investment and investing. I know that I need to invest in my business, but what do I do when I feel like I don't have the funds? Good question. So she goes on to write some more stuff, but I think that's the juxt of the question. So let's get into this question. So investment is absolutely crucial for progress, in my humble opinion. What Skylar says about investment is that money is the energy of commitment. Money is an extension of our physical selves, right? And so if you look at money and how we earn money, and then we choose how we spend it. So it becomes like a physical extension of ourselves. So when we invest, we tend to look after the things that we invest in. So the best way that I can demonstrate this is a really amazing example that Skylar gave me between shoes. And anyone that knows me knows that I love a good pair of shoes. But if you buy a cheap pair of shoes, for instance, out of Primark, they cost something like £5 or £6, or a very, very, inexpensive pair of shoes. You may not treat them very well. You may kick them off at the door. You may, jump in and in them, and like the backs might all be like broken down a little bit, but you're not really like, oh my God, my shoes, right? But equally, if you buy a pair of amazing, like say Jimmy Choo sandals, you take the lid off the box. These puppies are in a box. So you're like, I'm going to take the lid off. It's like the angels are singing. You unwrap the tissue paper. You carefully extract the shoe. You carefully place the shoe on your feet. You are expecting your partner to literally lay his coat down over puddles. Because there is no way puddles are going to get anywhere near your beautiful shoes, right? And at the end of the night, when you go to put your Jimmy Choo shoes away, you might be wiping them down, putting them back in the box and looking after them. Well, what's the difference? They're both two pairs of shoes, really, at the end of the day. What is the big difference? Well, the big difference is the price label. So one gets extra special care and attention, and the other one's like this, right? And I think, for me, when Skylar gave me that example between the two pairs of shoes as a kind of real world example for me to really understand money as the energy of commitment, I kind of had to hang my head in shame a little bit and realize how many $10, $7, $9 products I have bought in the past that never made it off my hard drive. Like I downloaded the thing and then didn't really engage with it. Why? Because my commitment level is very low. Equally, there has been courses where I invested a lot more money. And when I invested a lot more money, I showed up And of course, I got the results, because here's the big deal in all of this. This is why so many entrepreneurs bang on and on about investing in yourself and investing in your business. When you invest in yourself, and here's what I like personally about investment. This is what I look for myself. I want to feel my investment. I want to feel like, ooh, I want to have that feeling like, oh, this is like, put your big girl panties on, sit at the front of the class, get your notepad feeling. I want that, because I'm feeling the level of investment that I have made. The reason I want that is because I know that that's the level that allows me to really, really engage and show up and do the work. When the investment is too low, I sometimes don't do the work. And I've seen that many, many times with clients and things like that, where people have really felt that investment, and therefore they have attended every class. They have shown up completely and utterly in their energy field, and they have shown up so much. And when somebody shows up like that, then they get the results, right? Because the results are not because you bought the thing, right? The investment is not because you just bought the thing. Like, we don't immediately be like, oh, you have invested to the tune of da da da, you must now be successful. It doesn't work that way. It works because we do the work. And so what is the amount that needs to do the work? Now, when we say things like, what happens when I don't feel like I have the money to invest? There's many, many other ways that we can invest. Money is just one avenue, but our time and our energy is another avenue. And being invested, and one of the things I think that shows a level of seriousness to the universe is when you can show up and be invested even when there is not a monetary thing on the table. The money helps. That really helps for me. If I have put money into the game, I call it putting skin into the game, right? If I have put some skin into the game, I'm going to show up, right? But it kind of like, I have in the back of my mind, I don't want to waste that money. I don't want to waste that resource that I expended. So I want to make sure that I spent it well, and I show up for that. But, one of the really, really powerful, really important ways that we can invest in our business is by giving our business the time and the energy. And we can give our business time and energy by showing up and being fully engaged in that. Then if you've made past investments, have you shown up for those past investments? And could you continue to show up for those past investments? Many of us have courses that we just do not engage with. So going back when you feel like you don't have the funds, going back and engaging with older courses and things that you perhaps have bought, and beginning to take yourself through that. And you're going to find that that's probably going to be a little bit more difficult, right? Because you paid your money. It might have been a couple of years ago you paid your money. And, what is the incentive for you to show up now? Well, it's absolutely zero, unless you have that drive inside of you that I want to learn more, to be able to expand where I am in life, and to be able to increase the capacity of what I can hold. Investment is massively, massively important, because investment is literally a kind of huge, powerful signal that we give to the universe to say, I'm invested in my future. I'm invested to do the thing that I want to do. I want to create something powerful for me in the future. And and here's where my money is, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to create that. And it sets powerful intentions. Now, the universe always meets you where you meet yourself. And so I'm going to tell you a little story from my own personal life. When I started to get a little bit extra money, I became very, very scared to spend that money. And there was things I wanted to invest in, but I held myself back from investing in them. Instead, what I did was I tried to figure it out on my own. And there was one particular program that I could have jumped into, but it would have felt like I would have really felt that investment. And to be honest, I was too scared to jump into that investment. And so I let fear make my decision for me, right? And you're operating out of two energies, as Skylar says. You're either operating out of fear or you're operating out of source, which is love. So I was not giving my business nor myself any love that day when I decided, no, I'll wait. Well, that course only launched once a year. So I waited a whole year. And a year passed, and I did figure a lot of things out, and I figured a lot of stuff out, and my business was going really, really well. So in a year from there, I then went and the course came up, and this time I was like a hell's yes. Let me buy this. Let me dive into this. Let me do this thing. And I bought the course, the very, very first module. I was like, I couldn't believe the first module. I was so gutted at the first module of this course because the first module was so easy and so simple in the way that they had laid it out. And this was something that I had struggled with over the past year for at least 6 to 7 months. And like literally it took me maybe 2 hours to go through this. And I had been struggling so much with this thing, trying to figure it out. I attended like free webinars, like all the things I've done. I expended so much time and so much freaking energy. And I remember just feeling like gut punched at watching that first module, knowing that there was this entrepreneur that had literally laid it out so simply and so amazingly for me. And realizing that had I been a bit braver a year ago and decided, right, here's my money, let's go for it, I would have saved myself hours and frustration and so much so much frustration had I invested earlier. And yet earlier I had been too afraid to invest, and the story was that I didn't really have the money, but the fact was I did have the money. The truth was I just didn't really want to spend it in that way because I was too afraid to spend it in that way. And for moments like that, Skylar always teaches you're not ready till you're ready. But in hindsight, I was ready. I was just scared, but I didn't pull the trigger because I was scared, and I didn't purchase. And I went through the course a year later, and a lot of the stuff I had really figured out myself, but to what cost? If I had gone through that program, I think it was a 12-week program, if I remember correctly now, but if I'd gone through that program back in the day, it would have sorted so many things for me in 12 weeks. And instead, it took me a year to figure it all out. And even then, I still got a lot from the program a year later. But I think it was an important lesson for me to learn as an entrepreneur, because I realized I can't let fear be the thing that guides me. Right? Like I can't let fear be the thing that guides me. So if you take anything from this podcast, what I would like to say to you guys is, where are you making your decisions from? Are you making your decisions from a place of love, a place of belief, a place of, I really would love these results in my life. I would really love to invest in myself. I really love my business, so I'm going to give my business the best. I really love myself, so I'm going to give myself the best opportunities for success? Or are we sitting there and choosing and making all of these choices from a place of fear, of being afraid to spend the money, being afraid that we might not make any more money, being afraid that it won't work, whatever our list of fears are, but know what they are, and call them by their name, call them by their true name, which is fear. And once you can start to see your fears as that is what it is, you can begin to own your fears, because either your fears are owning you, which is what happened in that story I just told you. I let my fears own me in that moment, and my fears said, no, don't do it, don't buy the thing. And what ensued was a year of frustration. But here's the thing, everything is channels of like, and channels are like train tracks. So if you make decisions of love, then do not be surprised when you turn up at a station in your journey in life that you will love. But when you make choices and decisions from a place of fear, don't be surprised if you end up at Frustration Alley, or you end up you know, in Misery Falls, or you end up in Scary Maryville, wherever you are, because it's like a train track. Whatever you made the decision from, the base energy that you made that decision from, that's where you're going. That's a train track that you're on. And I realized, you know, I had a year of frustration that I could have saved myself by going all in on the investment. And I'm 100% sure, because during that whole year, you know, hindsight's 2020, but during that whole year, I did figure out myself and I did start making a lot of money. So actually the investment that I'd been so worried about a year previous to that was an easy investment to make a year later. But I think if I'd had that course earlier, it would have been like the wind in my sails, and I would have moved through much quicker and saved myself a lot of trouble, a lot of frustration. It was an important lesson. Now I invest even if I'm scared. I'll say, okay, I'm really scared to do this, but like, then I feel in and I check in with my love, and I was like, you know, is this in alignment to my love? You know, like, is this something that, if money was no object, or whatever the issue is, right? Like whatever the issue is, like whatever my fear is, I say, like, you know, like maybe I fear I don't have enough time. So I'm like, okay, if time is no object, would you desire this? And if it's yes, then I do it. If like money was no object, if there's a money issue, then like, do I desire this? You know, yes. Okay, then I do it. If I get a no, then it's something else. It's not fear that's running the question. You know, often it's a fear that's underlying, that's stopping us from actually taking the action and moving further along quicker than we could be. And also as well, check in when you're saying, you know, we don't have the funds to invest. Is that the real truth? Or is it that we're actually afraid to spend the money because we are so afraid of lack? And we're so afraid that we might not be able to put food on the table, or we might not be able to do these things. At the end of the day, when we make investments, they have to feel safe in our autonomic nervous system. So they have to, so there's no point in making bold moves and investing, and then we feel absolutely like, you know, frozen in fear. So we don't take any action, even on the course that we just bought, because we're literally frozen in fear. There has to be a level. It's a very subtle line, and no one can determine that subtle line for you but you. And it's really making that choice and that decision to, where is the line for you? Where is that, you know, where is that subtle line? And where are you operating out of fear? Then don't be surprised if you end up in more fearful or frustrating situations, void aligned situations. And where are you making those choices from a place of love? I know that when I move into the lens of love, it makes it a lot easier to invest in things, and I understand, and it makes it a lot clearer if it's something that I truly desire, or I've told myself I should learn this, which was an entirely different lesson that I'm sure I'll share with you one day, guys. But if you have a question for myself and Skylar, then do pop us a little line at www.joannahunter.com/ask. And there will be a link that will take you there, and you can ask your questions for me and my spirit team, Skylar. I hope this filled you with a light today. And I am so excited. We're about to start our $1 million experiment. So this is an amazing investment. And not only that, we can help you to make your money back on it as well, because we are offering a 50% affiliate fee. $1 million experiment launches very, very soon. It is only $25, and we offer a 50% affiliate, which means if you bring 2 people into the experiment, you will have made your money back. And if you bring in more, we'll actually be paying you to be in the experiment. So that is an investment that you can't afford to miss. I'll speak to you guys soon. Take care.